In this video we have a pattern generator. This is one I bought from a tip shop a while back, and I did actually take the cover off. I think I did check it. The cord's been cut, but you can see where I've attached a temporary one, and I think I cleaned the contacts in the switch and it actually ran alright after that, or reasonably well. What is it? Labgear Limited, Cambridge, England. Nice bluish hammer tone finish. Patent supplied for, it is a model 6031 I think. Oh no, something MCM, OM. Do you have anything on the front? BHF 6, oh yeah, there it is, CM6031/EX. Center location, dot crosshatch, some sort of raster. Vertical lines, colour off. So I'm not sure if it has a red screen, hopefully. Doesn't look like it's actually got colour bars. Yeah, well, that doesn't come back out. Is that meant to come back out? Probably. That one's an on off. Well, we've stuffed that up, but I think the switches were definitely dicky in this thing. But I should really put a proper power cord on this thing and maybe use it a bit, but 240 volt, 50 hertz. It's got an RF output. I think this is another, yes, it's got a lead hanging off it, or maybe it's an RF input. But I've almost forgot I had this. It's been sitting under a bench for ages, but now I've got it out. I'm going to do something with it. And we might as well put it to some sort of use, or sell it and get rid of it or something. I don't know. It's missing a rubber foot there. Well, that doesn't want to come off, does it? Definitely doesn't go that way, and it doesn't want to come off that way. Yep, just got to pull hard. And yeah, 7.4 series chips, 1974 date on those probably. Texas Instruments, almost, if not all of them. Yeah, I think they're all Texas Instruments. A little picture of Texas with a little T or something is it? I forget what the symbol is. Back in Silicon Valley, actually, it's a T with an I inside the outline of the state of Texas. That's right. Transformer with a fuse. That's an RF modulator, I would assume. And it's got 12 volt written next to it. Oh, yeah, there's the lead coming out. This has got a separate, oh, is that a video? It wouldn't be a video output, would it? Sort of got a pink wire, which I see must be that pink wire there. So maybe it's a video output, or maybe it's something that says Luma. R-Y, B-Y, and Luma. So it's got like colour different signals. Yeah, rather strange. What sort of transistors has this thing got in it? Certainly looks like it could have been made around the 70s. It's got the 443361619 or 618, whatever it was, crystal. Colour burst crystal. We've got a TBA 520 as the output. Or probably the colour converter, or some sort of output into the video signal. Well, if we've got a modulator, that's most likely a video signal here. That's that white wire. And a pot probably to adjust the level, which no doubt comes out of that TBA IC, I would think. What is that? That's a selenium rectifier by the look of it. Selenium bridge rectifier. Yeah, weirdest little mains cable. Got the Euro colours even back then. The brown active and blue neutral. That I think we might replace. Oh, what have we got on the end here? Don't know, because someone's put an insulation tape over it so it doesn't touch the case, I guess. Hopefully we don't rip off whatever it is. Oh, it's a 2N3055. 7407, so you're probably 1974. Labgear, some other details there. Quality control stamps. Yeah, 7406. I'm thinking that's the IC number, but it's actually, that would be 06 1974, I guess. They've all got 7406, but it's an SN7473 or an SN7400 with 74 over there, 05. So I think we can safely say this was probably built around 1974, so that's pretty early, just as colour television was coming into Australia, which would make sense, is when someone would have wanted to buy one. Since this one's in Australia, they would have bought it around the time colour television was about to hit the streets. And I think we'll try and repair that. So a little clamp on the cord. Yeah, it's a really small mains cord, not a size we normally saw in Australia. And this is usually a bit thicker than that. And looks like it goes up to the fuse holder, the transformer, and yeah, the chassis down there. The earth we might just loop onto something rather than pulling half of that to bits. And yeah, that little clamp's probably going to be too small. Let's just get rid of that. Well, I found a fairly thin modern Chinese one or something. Honglin. That might be a good upgrade. Let's see if we can get that. That might even fit the old mounting stuff. Being very careful not to snick any of the inner wires there. But yeah, like I say, with the earth, I might just use a crimp connector on that rather than taking the transformer off and messing around and having to put a terminal of some sort on there. I guess I should have really stripped that after I went through. Is that going to make it? Ugh. Come on, you can do it. The old rubber's probably a bit tight on this thing. Only easy way to do it is to put a longer screw in there. Because it's going to be a real pain to try and fit a washer and stuff on there with this not wanting to bend so tight. But if you've got plenty of length there, it's as easy as, and it's not going to be in the way of anything. Would have been nice to leave the original in there, but I haven't got the patience to fiddle around with that all day. Must be close to the end now. There we go. Yeah, that cord doesn't like being bent that tight, I must admit. I'm not sure if that's the best idea, probably why they used a thin one. That's where a long screw gets to be a bit of a pain because you can't get pliers on it easy, but yeah, it's nice and tight. Might be a little too tight there, but anyway, we'll simply got to put the active onto the fuse holder. I'll leave a little bit of length there, I think. I guess we should keep it reasonably tight. Neutral onto there. It's about the perfect length. And earth, well, that's a pretty safe one anyway. I'll go a little shorter. Twist it together and get a little eBay kit of crimpy bits. Well, those little ones will probably do even. Can we do that with a pair of pliers? The crimper on the back maybe. Yeah, that seems pretty solid. I wouldn't do that with the mains with the active or anything, but with the earth wire, not without heat shrinking it up or something anyway. Just another wire, and there it is, I think. Don't want to risk melting a wire that's nearby, but it's actually on the same terminal, I think. Let's get a bit of solder on that thing. Fuse holder. We could just cut the old wire, I guess, but it's nice to get rid of it completely. Transformer. Unfortunately, with these auto-tune TVs, I can't actually tell you. Oh, it is a. Oh, it does have colour bars. Oh, so that's what they are. They are not just lines there. Oh, that's a nice little colour bar generator, that one. Purity, and I can't get dots or anything up because I can't release that switch. There we have our dots. Crosshatch, look at the misconvergence on that old Samsung. And yeah, no sound, obviously, just a bit of a buzzing sound there. Yeah, it's a nice little unit, that. And it's got a in that mode. We've now got a dot in the middle. How did it change that? Oh, maybe I think I thought that was just a black screen before, but there is a dot in the centre. That's working now. Wow, hey. Or not. It's not the most reliable thing. So yeah, it's got one of these awful gang switch things, and I say awful because they have a habit of playing up, and there's a little brass bit there, and this one down the other end's got it. That's meant to swing across. It was stuck in this position. Now it's gone to the other. Did it come? It didn't come out straight away, but yeah, if we can get that to move across, possibly even just pushing it by hand, yeah, that's enough to. Pushing it ahead of actually pushing the switch seems to be enough to get it to start latching. Can we bend that thing up or something? We've got power off. Don't want to short our chips out or anything. I don't know if you can put a little bit of oil or something on that. I'm going to get some on a cotton bud and just risk it and see what happens. Yeah, like you got to press it multiple times still. It worked a little bit and then decided to stop working again. Usually they're worn out inside or something, I think. They're about the only thing I used to do is often just, you can bend as usually, well these don't seem to have the bent over tabs, but you can get these switches off the metal bracket they're on, and if you can find another set out of something, that was usually the easiest way to fix them. It's just pulling out of another old radio cassette or TV or something that uses the same sort of switches. In this case it's probably easier just to put some tape over it. I'd still wonder whether that I'll bend that up a bit. Seems to work a bit better. It works and then it doesn't work again. Oops, you popped down the switch, I think. Oops, oh yeah, when you press that, oh, I have nearly popped that out. So that piece does lift up, I think, but it's kind of, yeah, works a bit, then doesn't. Or at least it's working a little bit better with that metal bent up. It occasionally works. But I think the contacts did need cleaning in this. When I originally got it, it was intermittent, I think, on some of the outputs. Now the other thing I forgot to mention is we've actually got a little sticker here, World's Finest Sound Silver, so that's like the boombox manufacturer, and I generally like their stuff. It's not the greatest, but they did make some cool little boomboxes, but I certainly wouldn't call them the world's finest sound. I think they did make some proper sort of, I don't know about proper, but component type stuff, actual stereo components. But yeah, pretty rare to see a sticker like that. Unfortunately it's not in the best condition, but someone must have been an agent for them or something. And the other thing I want to check is what comes out, if anything, out of that socket. Well, I must admit, I don't even know what that signal is. It's got no sync, it's got these large pulses, and then if you spread that out a bit, it's just a square wave, I think, through there. Kind of like frames of video, but when I change the switches on the front, absolutely no change. No change when I turn the colour off. Normal video, you'd have a sync pulse going down, and a little gap between. This is just like pulses with sort of square waves in between. Obviously some part of the chain inside this thing. Got a handy little handle, because this probably would have been in a van or something potentially back then. There was a lot of in-home service still then, because there was with the valves prior to that. And one thing we don't have is an actual power switch, so that's handy. Guess I didn't think that was worth adding in. Probably not really, especially if it was used in the van for portable use. You're not going to care about a power switch. What have I got here? Some sort of magnet off a TV or something by the look of it. Little purity magnet. Chuck that away. Yeah, a bit of rust underneath. But yeah, nice little classic unit. But yeah, it would have cost quite a bit of money in the day. I only ever made my own. Never bothered buying a professional one, because you really didn't need the extra features normally. And when it came to the computer era, I just used a computer to run it, and that was always enough. There was no way you're going to do much in the way of alignment on monitor tubes, so just too difficult really. I did try swapping some tubes between monitors and stuff and decided it wasn't worth the bother, but I had to try it just out of interest. But normal televisions were pretty easy to line up on the go, especially the inline tube type, the later ones. You really could do them very quickly, almost on a off-air signal a lot of the time. But certainly the purity, you want to get it right, and a red screen certainly helped with that. But once you had that right, there wasn't a lot more to do on them most of the time. If you just use the original magnet assembly, you didn't have to do any sort of convergence or anything. But that's that little one, and I'll put that to some sort of use somewhere. So thanks for watching.